remember the first time I saw the film, but I rewatched it, obviously, a couple times, right before we started and then during shooting. And I think the thing that's honestly the most interesting about it is I find it very difficult to watch the film in the way that I originally watched it, which is the 80s audience sees this as a very binary, black and white, villain versus hero story. If you watch the movie again, I find it very, very difficult to see Alex as a straight villain, to not ask yourself the question as an audience member, like, well, what's going on with her? And also, what about consequences for him? And it's just the lens in which we view things now has altered so dramatically from the 80s that so much of the work, I think, is just, it's almost like inherent now, like done for us, and that we are poised to ask more questions about characters. And in this case, it's not an hour-and-a-half long film, it's an 8-hour series. We've got lots of time to really dig more deeply into Alex's backstory, her childhood, where she's coming from, seeing things through her eyes. And yes, it's a remake, but it's really more of a jumping off point, I think. You'll be familiar with the characters, but what we are trying to do is ask the questions that would have been impossible to ask in a film just because we wouldn't have had the time, and also they just weren't questions that people cared to ask back then.